Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good. We remain standing just for a moment of silence for our troops and their families, and a special intention for Jane Cooper, who passed away. She's the wife of Bob Cooper, Diane Cooper. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have two special presentations. Janice and Jen, can you meet down below? Thank you much. Thank you much. As you know, we had the 42nd St. Patrick's Day Parade on Sunday, March 1st, and we would like to recognize today the Grand Marshal and the Deputy Grand Marshal. Come on up here. Paul Caverly, who used to sit up here as Commissioner, and Jane Donovan from Manasquan. It was a very memorable parade, huh, with the snow. And interesting you wore white today. So that,
it's one they won't forget.
No. Great picture in the paper, though. Yeah. Very, very good. Honoring the 2015 St. Patrick's Day Parade, Grand Marshal and Deputy Grand Marshal, whereas on March 1st, 2015, the Belmar St. Patrick's Day Parade celebrated its 42nd anniversary. And Paul, I think you're involved with the very first one, right? We got older, didn't you?
Yeah.
Whereas the Belmar St. Patrick's Day Parade Grand Marshal Paul Caverly and Deputy Grand Marshal Jane Donovan led this historic event down Main Street in Belmar. And whereas the Grand Marshal Paul Caverly and Deputy Grand Marshal Jane Donovan have demonstrated consistent and admirable service to Belmar and the Irish community. And whereas the Belmar St. Patrick's Day Parade marks this time honored Belmar tradition and the honoring of our Irish heritage, the selection of Paul Caverly and Jane Donovan as Grand and Deputy Marshal for the parade celebrate the strength and honor of Belmar's Irish leaders. Whereas the Borough of Belmar wishes to recognize Grand Marshal Paul Caverly and Deputy Grand Marshal Jane Donovan for their service to our borough and the Irish community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor, Matt Doherty, and members of the Belmar Council hereby extend on behalf of all Belmar residents sincere congratulations for their designation of Grand and Deputy Marshal of this historic 42nd anniversary of the Belmar St. Patrick's Parade. Paul, do you want to say anything?
No, just it was a parade for the ages. I don't think too many people will forget this parade, and hopefully in the future we took the brunt of the bad weather, and they have very nice weather every parade coming forward. Oh, yesterday I had a friend of mine that knew the director of the St. Patrick's Day Parade in New York City, so I put the arm on him and I said, Jane and I would like to march in it. So the man said, come on up. We went up, met him at 43rd and 5th Avenue. He put us with the officers and directors of the parade. We're standing there, and from here to Brian is Cardinal Egan, who was the Grand Marshal. Dolan, Egan, God bless his soul. He's
a little bit more of a story.
Casper the Ghost, maybe. But right next to us was Cardinal Dolan. I introduced myself, and then the director came up, and we had pictures taken, and it was just a fantastic day. We had beautiful, beautiful weather, and it was such an honor to meet the Cardinal, and such a down-to-earth guy, happy-go-lucky guy, and He says he comes and visits us down here at the shore, so
Really?
Yeah.
maybe we'll get them together and do something with him. But again, thank you for this honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions? This gentleman standing in the hallway is Jane's husband, Ed Donovan, councilman in Manasquan. So, as I said,
Mr. Jane Donovan.
oh, that's right. And you know, we have two people missing, so if you want to take a chair, you sure. You know it? Oh, okay.
We're taking my spot.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Well,
very much. Good.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
It's definitely memorable.
That's it.
All right.
You don't want to jump in? This was one of Matt's fears, that I'd always get a chance to sit next to Jen up here, because we whisper things back and forth, and that was pretty funny.
Tell silly jokes.
Okay, right now we're at public bids. We have anybody in the audience interested in the yoga at 2nd Avenue Beach?
Come on up.
Come on up, please. Give your name to our clerk.
Just check in with April. Give her your name and your bid deposit, please.
Okay, you want to just state your name to the microphone so the audience, oh, do we have two separate, or this is one team, huh? Okay. Your name?
Nicole Roman.
Okay, Nicole, the minimum bid is $500 for the year. You okay with that?
Yes.
And as Matt always says, you want to go higher?
No, not if I don't have to.
We can't talk you into it? Okay. Jen, you want to? Janice, you want to do yoga on the beach?
Oh, I'll do.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were right. Okay. Seeing no other bids and to meet the minimum, I hereby.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Thank you very much.
Great.
So now we have yoga on the.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving down to workshop discussion. For today's agenda, I asked Colleen to put down there something that's come up, which people for many years have been asking for, and I know they have been because I was a director of recreation for so many years. But I could never see a way to get it done. But people have asked for a summer camp in Belmar. And it looks like we're moving very close and that we will have a summer camp this year, thanks to Jen Nicolay. So Jen, do you want to tell the audience a little bit more about this camp?
Sure. 2015 Belmar Summer Camp. It's for children entering first grade in September through children entering sixth grade. It's going to run from June 29th through August 14th, about 6 weeks? 7 weeks. 7 weeks, even better. The drop-off starts at 8:30 a.m. and goes through 3 o'clock p.m. We're hoping to have, or we need 75 kids to join, minimum 55 to run the program. And we need the 55 by April 30th. So please spread the word. For the entire summer, it's $500. I've had my kids in camps for a week that sometimes equals that amount. It's crazy. So it's an incredible deal. We've got Colleen Dillon, who's agreed to be head counselor. The arts and crafts program that we usually run every year will be part of this. It will not be a separate program. The $500, it cannot be prorated. You join in full. And when you can attend, hopefully every day, the children can be part of it. There'll be a mixture of activities. There'll be arts and crafts, sports, day trips, to our beach, McCleary Park, library visits, movie days. So keep the kids really busy. I think we're going to be doing first, second, third, and then fourth, fifth, sixth, keeping them separate. It'll be out of the gym here, and we'll utilize the facilities here. And out of town residents is $600. What's the best way that they can begin to register?
They can call Borough Hall and obtain a registration form, and we're sending it home to the schools tomorrow.
Great, perfect. So call Borough Hall to register. It's great, and we have talked about this for a very long time, so I thank Colleen for listening to me and helping me put this together. Ray Claudio obviously will be a big part of it because of our recreation, and we are extremely excited about it, especially our town and what it has to offer. It's a perfect fit. So, thank you, and again, spread the word.
Just, I have some questions, Jen. The hours, 8:30 to 3. How'd you come up with those hours?
I think it's kind of the typical, actually a lot of the camps end about 1 or 2, so we send them a little bit longer. I know it's a little tough to do a full day with the availability of counselors that we're going to pull together.
So this would actually be another summer job for some of our...
Yeah, I mean, it'll create, at least we're hoping to have 1 counselor for every 10 children. So we're creating at least 8 jobs.
And those jobs would go to our high school residents? Okay.
Unless you want
Oh, I'm not coming down.
they're going to ask for you.
People used to ask me, and what about those people that go to work at 7 o'clock or don't get home until 5 o'clock? I mean,
Which is kind of part of my life every day anyway. I've got a sitter that picks up my children from school every day at 3 and drives them around. Is it tough? Yeah. Did it take me a while to find somebody? Yes, but it works.
So still the parents' responsibility to get a sitter either before the or after.
Right.
And there's no bus pickup at the house or anything like that. You see.
Maybe down the road, I know with our first year, this is what we're able to put together. I know a lot of my friends are teachers in town, and they're off for the summer. First of all, they're thrilled that they'll have their time to themselves. But a lot of them are kind of buddying up where the teachers who are staying home for the summer are taking kids in the morning and bringing them over. So kind of like buddy system. But yeah, those are going to be definitely the times for the first year.
Okay. And we can't stay after, we can't go past 3 o'clock for those parents that can't get there till 4.
There's not, no.
Okay.
What time does this school, if you go to Belmar Elementary, what time does Belmar?
2:55.
So that's basically 3 o'clock. What time does it start in the morning?
When I get there,
When are the students supposed to be there?
8 o'clock.
So basically, it's about the same
It
hours
is.
that
Yeah.
the kids are in school.
Yeah.
And will we just have the 1 adult counselor and everybody else will be teenagers, or are we
We'll have
looking at-
Ray.
Ray will be a counselor, Colleen Dillon will be head counselor, and there will be probably 1 other senior counselor that would be an adult.
This is a trick question, Jen. First to 6th grade. Is that somebody that's in first grade now, or kindergarten that gets promoted to first grade? And,
Entering first grade in September.
okay, entering first grade in September and entering sixth grade, not someone that's in sixth grade going into seventh grade.
Correct, unless they didn't do well.
And what if we get more than 75? Because that $500 is like very, very inexpensive compared to other camps. And what if we get, is it going to be limited to Belmar residents?
No, I mean, we haven't put a max on it, and we're hoping to get 55, you know, that kind of is our low number. 75 max?
75 is break-even point, so the councilwoman asked, you know, let's do a great big push in April, see how many we get. And if we're at 75 by the end of April, I think we'll likely close it.
And if we
Okay.
exceed, will we just hire more counselors?
We definitely, I think we would have the capacity to go to maybe 80.
Okay.
Above that for our first year, you know, I want to make sure it's a success.
Yep.
So,
Will, and I know we talked about this, and it depends on, you know, how people enroll, but Belmar residents will get priority?
oh,
And the only
And
other
then we
question,
will step around.
only other question I have, you mentioned trips over to McCleary Park, down to the beach. How will everyone leave the gym and go on the trip? Are we going to get buses to that day to drive everybody, or?
buses will be pretty limited.
Yeah.
I believe Jen was working with, Councilwoman Nicolay was working with Colleen and Ray, talking about on the day that it's a beach day, maybe the drop-off is at the beach, and then there's a walk back to the gym.
Yeah.
So again, something to acknowledge that they're little legs and they don't go very, very far distances, but we want to be creative and keep it reasonable. When we started adding buses and things of that sort, we were starting to ratchet up the price, so we tried to keep it as affordable as possible.
And with the 1 to 10 ratio, I think that's pretty manageable. You know, if it was pre-K kindergarten, I'd be a little hesitant. You know, I would definitely reduce the ratio, but I think 1 to 10 of those age groups is pretty easy to keep them together.
So it's going to be a flat $500, whether or not you come 5 days a week or just 1 week or whatever. So I know people are going to try and negotiate that.
Yeah, and it's 600 for out of town, and if you have a second sibling or each additional sibling, we talked about overdoing a 25% discount. So that is some deal.
It's compared to what my daughters say, they send their kids to camp. That's why I'm afraid you're going to get more than 75 when the people hear about it.
Hopefully we'll have a good problem.
Yeah, and we'll have to do a cutoff again as it grows through the years, you know, we're hoping to add more people, and even like next year, I think people will jump in early and say, I'll apply to be a counselor, you know. Also, the cost includes all the activities and a snack for the day.
And one t-shirt per day.
Oh, and a t-shirt.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Thank you for the questions.
Good job, good job. Okay, right now, any petitions for the council? Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on March 3rd, 2015 be approved as recorded, and that a copy thereof be posted on the borough's website. Do I have a motion to approve? Second?
Councilwoman Keeler Blackburn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Councilwoman Governor?
Yes. Okay, reports of council. Since I'm not down there, I'll let you go first, Janice.
I'll go first. The library had an Irish night last week. Thomas Wesley Stern Band played. There was food from Connolly Station. Everything was excellent. It was an enjoyable evening. The library was packed, and I think everybody had a good time, so thank you to the library. Franny Hines' retirement dinner was this past Saturday evening. There were about 200 people there. I thought Franny was going to cry at one point, and that's hard to do. So hopefully he will enjoy his retirement. We'll still see him here in Belmar quite a bit. He's still in the first aid squad. He's still involved with the fire department, and he's still involved with the emergency services, and he runs the CERT team. So he's retired from his full-time job. He'll still be around, and that's a great asset for all of us. Last week was the bus trip to the 9/11 Museum in New York City. The bus was full. Everyone, I think, was quite moved by the museum, and it was a very interesting day. I can't say that people enjoyed the trip. They enjoyed lunch because we did go to Little Italy for lunch. The museum, if you have not been there and are able to go sometime, it's very worthwhile going, and it's certainly something we all need to remember for a long, long time. The senior luncheon was today. Unfortunately, I was not able to go, and I understand I missed a good lunch and missed some great music, and hopefully everybody had a good time. Upcoming events are both from the Historical Society. Their grand opening is going to be the 11th of April. I know we've mentioned it over and over. They are hoping that all of us will come and see the new museum. 1 until 4, food, fun, and of course an official ribbon cutting. And speaking of the Historical Society, they need money, so they're going to have a fundraiser November the 7th at the Waterview from 7 to 11. We all have to dress as bootleggers from the 1920s, so it's a masquerade ball. So get your great big not Uzis. What did they shoot back in those days?
Thompson
Be a Bonnie and Clyde, and hopefully it'll be a fun evening. And so mark the date, November the 7th. Just put it on your calendar. More information to come.
I think you just call it machine guns.
Machine guns? Good.
Yes, something simple, they call it machine gun, machine gun.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Jen?
As I mentioned about the camp going, and again, please spread the word. And actually, if anybody's connected to me on Facebook, I'll be sending it out. This is from the St. Rose High School. We're preparing for our spring musical Mary Poppins on April 30th, May 1st and the 2nd at 7 p.m. and a matinee at 1 p.m. on May 2nd. It's crazy to say May already. It's flying by. It's at the Jersey Shore Arts Center in Ocean Grove. And moving on to the elementary school, they have the Rainforest Cafe grand opening on the 20th. They've got plant sale beginning on the 23rd, a book fair from the 24th to the 26th, and the Easter prayer service on the 30th. They also just added an open house on Thursday, April 23rd, and that is for the St. Rose Grammar School. For the Arts Council, a new exhibit just opened and I went over and it's tremendous. It's called People, and it's photos of people, very, very interesting. It's now open and it runs from Wednesday through Saturday at 1 p.m. through 5 p.m. Also, the annual Art Walk is coming up quickly on April 25th. And if you haven't attended that, that's one of the really great events that the Art Council puts on, and it's all for the town. Let's see here. Did that. Is Campbell here? Okay, I'm just going to have him touch on DPW. And that's it for me.
Very good. Okay, again, I'd like to congratulate Franny Hines for so many years of hard work in Belmar and on the first aid squad. He's just really a tremendous worker for the borough of Belmar. The library staff on Irish Night, what a great turnout. Bruce Plattner, are you out there?
Yes.
Please thank the staff there and tell them that we really appreciated
Thank you.
everything they did that night. It was
We had
just well done.
We had a very good attendance. I think it was
Oh,
between
fantastic.
75 and 85 people.
At least.
Very well attended, and looking forward to doing it again next year.
Very good. I'd also like to congratulate St. Rose Girls High School State Champions. They won it 2 years in a row. They're now in the Tournament of Champions, which they play tomorrow night against St. John Vianney. So we hope they can come do well, and they might end up playing Manasquan for the second time for the Tournament of Champions in the the state of New Jersey. At Manasquan, Marina Mabry from Belmar was named the Gatorade Player of the Year. That means they announced her as the best female basketball player in the state of New Jersey. And the only other Gatorade Player of the Year from New Jersey was her sister Mikkel. So, no, I think it's good Belmar Recreation Department. Thank you. There was what they call, the NFL had a pro day out at Good Sports in Wall to come watch Neil Sterling run his workout. 19 teams for the NFL came to watch Neil. So come draft day coming up, it's a very good chance that we'll have our first Belmar resident get drafted in the NFL. I'd like to see that happen. You know, we've had a lot of snow during January and February. It's finally melted, and you know, I walk my dog all the time. Is there anything that says that when it snows, the dog owners don't have to pick up after their dog?
No, they absolutely still do.
Because now you're finding out these people don't pick up after their dog. You know, the snow melts, but it doesn't melt. You know, so I wonder. It's really a mess. So that's my report.
I apologize.
No, you already went.
I have three
No, you
very
already-
quick things to do. I first wanted to say that there was a fundraiser for Home by Summer at the Belmar Fishing Club, and it was excellent. Danny White and his band performed. They were tremendous, and they raised over $4,000. So thank you to the Fishing Club and to Danny White and everybody that was involved in that. Second, I don't know if we've had a meeting since Restaurant Tour, but it was a great event. Again, if you haven't done it, you got to try it one year. All the restaurants served samples of items that they wanted to offer, and I had every single one, and they were great. And lastly, I just want to remind people to shop local. It's just important, okay? Whatever you can do to keep business in town. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're to the public session of on the resolutions. Only on the agenda. We will continue to have a public session at the end of the meeting. At this time, resolutions, we want to add that resolution right. I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda and for adoption a resolution authorizing the transfer of appropriation reserves as permitted by NJSA 40A 4-59.
Second.
Second?
Councilwoman Keough Blackburn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nicholas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Butler?
Yes. Okay. Consent agenda.
Public session.
Just need
Public, what's it?
just open up to the public if they have any.
Okay, anybody out in the public want to speak on
Consent.
the consent agenda? Gene, please.
Gene Kramer, Fort Avenue. I only have two quick questions on two of the consent agenda items. There's one here authorizing the county of Monmouth to crop dusting mosquito spraying over Belmar. And I did read in the resolution that the county would provide notice to our police department. Can we have that notice either reverse 9-1 so that the residents could be informed that either helicopters or airplanes are going to be flying over doing mosquito spraying?
Good point. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Colleen, can we do that? They'll notify us before they come in, so we can get like a day's notice to the
We'll reach out to them so you have advance notice.
Okay, thank you, Gene. And the second thing?
Yes, this is, I guess, the authorizing go out for bids for a lease on the marine bait shop. I guess my question there is, would this leasehold interfere with the construction of the restaurant over there? I know that the restaurant people from Chefs International indicated that they would be starting construction in September. And this leasehold is for 1 year plus an additional 2 years, or excuse me, an additional year. So up to 2 years. I just don't, am I missing something here? Because I believe the bait shop is right where the new building's going to go.
Well, Colleen can answer, but I would think that we have worked that out as probably to keep everything flowing, and that we'll make the proper adjustments. But Colleen, can you,
This is to ensure the seamless transition from the lead direct leaseholder with the borough to the transition to the new building.
so whoever wins the lease will know that there's construction going on, and we'll make the appropriate
Yes.
adjustments.
Correct.
So we will have a bait shop there,
Yes.
at least this.
Yeah. You know, either, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Again, thank you, Gene. Appreciate it. I move to close the public portion of the resolutions.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, then I make a motion to adopt the resolutions on the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Keeler Blackburn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gomer?
Yes. And does that bring us all the way down to the reading of the, first reading of the ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is for a first reading of an introduction of our ordinance, amending and supplementing chapter 19. All right, goes back to my grammar school. Traffic section 1940.1, parking meter zones and regulations of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Belmar in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey. I make a motion for the adoption? To introduce it, I'm sorry. Do I have a second?
Second?
Councilwoman Keeler Blackburn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gomer?
Yes. And oh my goodness, so quickly. To the public session. If anyone wishes to come up to the microphone and you have something to report, say to us, we'd appreciate hearing from you. She looks familiar.
I have some comments about my not coming to the microphone, but I hope that's cleared up. I love the idea of a summer camp for our Belmar children. I'm just wondering, would there be any training session for the teenagers involved in participating? If you're not used to working with children on a daily basis, there are some basic fundamental ideas that should be conveyed to those youngsters. I know there will be teachers involved, but maybe a week before the opening, there could be some kind of a training.
Yeah, there'll be training and there'll also be interviewing. I mean, hopefully we'll get a lot of people that will be interested, so we'll interview and choose the best candidates.
Terrific. I also want to compliment the police, our police department, on the Unity Tour event. That was a fabulous event. We had many, many residents out in support. The money raised will go towards the families of fallen officers. I want to congratulate, in particular, Tina Scott for just coordinating that wonderful event, and Chief Palmisano, all of our police officers that were in attendance. Thank you very much.
Mayor, just to go back to what you asked about the counselors, I always found it very successful, and I worked with Colleen Dillon for so many years.
Yes, I know that.
The best way to do this is you hire the counselors that came through the program. I used to hire coaches that came through the program, and so they are almost ingrained on how the program goes. And I'm quite sure Colleen is a good judge of character. And
No question about it.
So-
I'm just saying, as a former teacher, there are
Well-
basic notions or ideas that should be conveyed regarding certain behaviors or children who might, have issues, and we
Yeah.
certainly welcome all of them. But at the same time, there might need to be a little bit of a
Yeah.
period of
There'll be
instruction.
There'll be some challenges there, I'm sure, but I don't think we'll leave that up to the so-called counselors. There'll probably be different degrees of counselors. There'll be like the high school counselors, and we'll maybe have a college counselor too that has had some sociology courses and
Or
psychology.
in teacher training.
Teacher training, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Anybody else?
Brendan Reed, 1 Ninth Avenue. Just wanted to give a special thanks to the DPW, the excellent job of filling in the potholes on 9th Avenue between A and Ocean right by our building. Keep up the great work, DPW. You guys are the best.
Thank you. We'll tell Michael for you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Rob Birnbaum, 5 Ocean Avenue. With regard to the ordinance that was just introduced, it says that the enforcement would be the east and west sides of Ocean Avenue. Is that the way it's going to be, that the numbered spaces will be also on the west side?
The metered parking,
Yes.
as this ordinance reads, it's just going to be on the east side.
Well, the ordinance has always stated that we have the ability to enforce on east and west, but the intention of this ordinance is to increase the hourly rate for the east and not let her west.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes up for public, I'm going to show my hand, but I'm going to push for the west side.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Michael?
Mike Seaver, 110 2nd Avenue. Good evening, Council President, Council. I kind of a little bit late. I just had a quick question. Last week, at the tail end of the meeting, there was a lot of discussion about a $925,000 settlement.
Yes.
I was just wondering if you could expand on what that money actually was for.
Okay, I'll do it very quickly. During the storm, there was work that Birdsell Engineering did for us. They did the work. They billed us for it. Then they went bankrupt because of their problems. Another company came and bought their book at a discount. I think like 30 cents on the dollar or something about it. So the mayor is saying, well, if you just bought their book for 30 cents on the dollar, why should we pay you 100% of what Birdsell charges? Let's negotiate this. And they were agreeable to negotiate, and we got it down to what we owed Birdsell, we only paid 50 cents on the dollar. So that's what it was.
Okay, but I guess my question is more specifically where, according to what I was hearing in attending council meetings and being told, was that during the course of the recovery period, we were filing worksheets and applying for FEMA reimbursements and submitting bills to FEMA based on that work that had been done in the town, which I would imagine would include engineering, because as you mentioned, and rightly so, the entire time that we were recovering from FEMA and they were an operating entity, they were doing work for us. And we were being billed for it. And I was at the council meeting where they first encountered their troubles, and many on the council spoke highly about staying with them, given the fact that Birdsell had been our engineer for many years. So my question, Council President, is, was the money for the boardwalk? Was it for the pavilions?
Specifically, I don't know, but, and I'll say this right now, I don't think Birdsell ever did a bad job for the borough of Belmar. They ran into other problems that cost them their business, but the work that they did was quality work. So
I remember you expressing those sentiments in the March or April meeting. Shortly after their problems were announced, I remember distinctly you saying very much the fact that that's how you felt.
yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to determine, try to get some clarity on, is when we had prior settlements, we had a situation where we had a termination settlement, we had an insurance settlement regarding the marine, I believe, and there was some explanation as to what that was. Here, we have an expenditure, I would argue a fairly substantial expenditure, that I don't really feel I have any clarity about. I understand the mechanics of maybe why the borough took the route they did, and if they accomplished the savings, that's terrific. I'm not bad mouthing that. I have no issue with that. What I'd like to know is what the money of that $1.1 million plus amount was, outstanding was for. one of the reasons I'd like to know that, just so you know my position, is that shortly after that, we were, was brought to the residents' attention about building pavilions again, and Mesa had taken over, and it seemed like the $1 million figure in engineering was attributable to the pavilions for Mesa Engineering also. So I'm just, I'd love to know
I'm trying, yeah, okay. Thank you.
clearly what the amount was.
Maybe I can get you an answer.
That's not related.
Holly?
They're very separate issues, but the amount encompassed in the settlement agreement really is to represent over 30 different cost centers of
30
work.
different,
Cost centers of work between the end of 2012 and mid-2013.
because they do a lot of different projects for us that we get billed for, from like ball fields, and everything that gets done in Belmar, we have engines. So what it it encompassed about, as Colleen said, 30 different projects that added up to a lot of money.
But I find that confusing, Council President, that at some point we would have had to stop paying them before they filed for bankruptcy then. If it encompasses work that goes back, a year before they filed for bankruptcy, when did we decide that we no longer felt them a worthy vendor to pay?
Go ahead.
No, I think if we can all remember back to that period of time, we were faced with a $130 million disaster. We were faced with bonding money for emergency services, clearing the streets of debris, restoring power, pumping out water. The previous council authorized numerous bonding initiatives to ensure that we'd be able to clean up. We had to prioritize who paid when before we had the available cash flow to pay Bertzold, they went bankrupt.
Okay, excellent answer. There was so much going on after that storm that 1.8 with 30 projects sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But we had bigger issues to prioritize to get paid first. So that's your answer,
Did we leave engineering out of our worksheets that we filed?
No, I'm sure they got paid some engineering fees and stuff like
But
that.
it's important to remember, just for certain people's education, FEMA is a reimbursement program.
Yeah.
They only pay us for what we paid out.
Okay, so one of the other questions I was gonna ask is if any of that monies that were done throughout the town that we've now settled with Birdsall on is FEMA reimbursable?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely?
The answer is yes, then. Yes.
Okay, and the work that money represents was work that was done throughout the town, correct?
Various 30 project centers.
30 projects.
But we may not be able to get it at 50% off like we got this. So.
Councilman Durham, also I point out, they sued you for in excess of $1.8 million plus attorney's fees. And as a result of this administration's efforts, you were able to reduce that to 50 cents on the dollar, below 50 cents.
It was a fantastic deal.
So, and again, a lot.
Were you in on that negotiation?
A lot of that credit would have to give to your borough administrator.
So not that, Michael DeCron was in negotiation.
Okay, thanks. Because I bet you that was pretty tense. We didn't want to go to court over it, right?
Right.
It was a team effort.
Team effort.
And so I'm happy to hear, and I didn't realize this until Colin mentioned that it is reimbursable, so I'm sure that she's an expert in it.
None of us know this until we ask these questions. That's why I would like, if it's possible, have an explanation about this, Council. And I'm not knocking the fact that a good job and a good effort was made to get a reduction. I came up here clearly stating that I commend those efforts. I'm a taxpayer.
I'm sure that Ms. Connolly can provide that.
And I'm sure you can understand why we wouldn't be bringing it towards you while negotiations were going on. I mean, that would be, there's a time and a place to make things known, and when they were negotiating it, they wanted to keep it tight. So,
Council President, you're absolutely correct. But I would point out the fact that in the two prior settlements, the council meetings I attended to, there was discussion before a resolution was read in and voted upon by the council. In this case, this was kind of passed over a little bit accidentally or whatever. I'm sure it was an oversight, but it seems to me, A, a pretty good sized oversight, and B, I'd still love to know the details as to what exactly, were we submitted, did we get any reimbursement on any prior engineering we billed for? How did we bill for it to
Can you
FEMA?
take his information and get him the details?
Sure, I believe we've answered the question, but
Okay.
if you'd like to
Yeah.
give me your phone number, I'd be happy to give you a call.
Sure.
is there anybody else that have any questions? David? Okay.
David Schnack, 302 C Street, if you'll pardon me, I left my tinfoil hat home, so I'll try to remember to bring it next time. I just would, two things, would like to point out there's been a mischaracterization of how far we negotiated it down, because the 1.8 million included the interest for not paying it on time, and if we had paid the bill in a timely manner, it would have been 1.3 million, is that correct?
I do remember,
There was some interest in it, but again, there was a debate as to whether they were owed interest, as to whether the contract allowed for that interest. So regardless of whether there was interest or not, it was still part of the claim. The claim included also attorney's fees and costs.
Right.
There was great exposure to the borough for that based on the contract, but because of the contract that they had, there were some arguments that they wrote.
By not paying the bill in a timely manner, the total that we had to negotiate down was 1.8 million, not 1.3 million.
I'm not quite sure if I agree with that.
Well, that's,
Remember, that was the number that they had sued for, plus.
right. And the second thing I'd like to point out to the council is, my understanding of how the council is supposed to work is that situations like lawsuits against the borough are supposed to be discussed in executive session, and detailed minutes are supposed to be made of the executive sessions, and then when that information is no longer sensitive, like when the issue is, resolved, like it has been on this, then those, the minutes of those meetings, unless there's like, personal medical information about a borough employee or something of that nature, those minutes are supposed to be made public. And this just seems like, I don't know how involved the council was. There's no way to know because there's no minutes, no executive session. And I really would like to see us return, like we have in the past, to having, during the regularly scheduled council meetings, have executive sessions where minutes are taken and where that eventually can be made public, because anything you do is supposed to eventually be made public. And it seems like this is just fallen into a black hole and is never really going to be available for the public to scrutinize.
Councilman Burr, if I can take that. First and foremost, there was no executive session on this litigation. The mayor directed me that put everything in public for transparency's sake. That's why we put the settlement out. That's why all discussions were held in public. So there was no need for executive session due to the fact that the settlement was placed out on the record.
Did I miss a meeting or something? Because I never saw anything about it until the day after the meeting, and then all of a sudden the resolution appeared dated March 4th, and I don't recall ever seeing any discussion on it in public. But I can understand where that stuff, before it's settled, it should not be discussed in public. You don't want to show your hand.
That's why at the last meeting they had the resolution approving the consent order and stipulation.
Right, but that's at the end of it. But I assume the council is involved and has some input in deciding on a legal path when the borough is sued.
That's why they discussed it in public. That's why they had it on the resolutions.
thank you,
There
David.
was no discussion of it in public. I never saw any
It was
discussion of it in
on the
public.
agenda at the last meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, last one, Mike. And hope we can keep this short.
I'll be real short.
Good.
Council President, Governor, Mike Seebeck, 110 evening. Once again, good evening, and thank you very much. I wanted to come up here and compliment the mayor. He's not here tonight, so I think it's wrong of me not to harbor my complimentary feelings in that you guys should start going out and buying classic cars or whatever, because you guys conducted an amazing auction last week for our beachfront eating facilities. It was, I know he didn't have a voice, he was the first auctioneer without a voice to conduct a successful auction, and that went extremely well. So congratulations to all of you. That, I was always thinking, maybe we should have 1, 2 more, or maybe we should start going out buying classic cars. That was
Thank you, Mike.
my confidence.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing no other interest in talking to us, I make a motion to end the meeting. Aye.